Welcome to Cowgirl Up, the podcast dedicated to elevating your mindset. I'm your host, Lori Blickenstaff, certified mental performance coach at mentalgame101.com. Today, I'm going to share my personal mindset challenge of embracing imperfection. I'll admit that the perfectionism thing gets me more often than not, and I'm sure this is something that I will be working on for a while. Now, perfectionism comes from many different factors, but here are the specific ones that get me. First is just certain personality traits. Like I mentioned yesterday, I'm a bit of an introvert, and I've always wanted, before I say something, I want to know I can say it perfectly. But this type of person, also tends to have a high level of self-discipline, and it makes us, expect perfectionism. And then the other is comparison with others. So I'm sure you can relate to this, but if you look at anyone else on social media who's doing what you're doing, you think, oh, wow, that looks really good. Well, mine's not going to look that good, or mine's not going to look like that. Or, and this comparing oneself to others can just fuel perfectionists because you don't want to put yourself out there unless you feel like it's going to meet up to the standards you see out there. And then, of course, just social media in general can pressure people to achieve perfection in life, because most of the time what we see on social media is not the grind and the journey to get there, but it's the perfect pieces that people put out there. Now, I wouldn't say that all perfectionist tendencies are bad. Certainly not. I mean, some of those, are what push us to be high achievers. But if we let them paralyze us, if we're too into the perfection piece of it, it keeps us from taking action because we don't want to put it out there if it's not perfect. And if that happens, then it's something we need to be aware of and work on. So the healthier mindset that I'm working towards is to embrace imperfection and process and growth. So ideally, we focus not only on accepting who we are as we are, but embracing it. You've probably heard people say to be authentic or be your real self. And since we're human beings, authentic and real means, guess what? Imperfect. Well, I recently attended this seminar with several amazing speakers, and I don't think it was a coincidence that more than one message felt like it was speaking directly to me on this theme. Here were my key takeaways from the seminar. The first is to do it awkwardly, but do it anyways. The speaker's name was Hannah Pryor. She wrote a book called Good Awkward. And she said, you can't avoid awkwardness without avoiding growth. That's a golden nugget there. And then the second takeaway is that perfection is actually the worst form of procrastination. It's an excuse to not put yourself out there. And then the third takeaway is to flush FOPO. Fear of other people's opinions. I love it. And just do you. And then the final one is to embrace being perfectly imperfect. Because progress does matter more than perfection. So the overarching theme of all of this is that perfection doesn't build trust. Authenticity does. People want to know that I'm a real person with real issues that they can relate to. At least I hope so. Otherwise, you can skip over this whole week of episodes. Now, I posted my 4 takeaways near my desk as daily reminders to just keep showing up, taking the action, and trusting God for the outcomes. And actually, outcome focus is tomorrow's topic. So come back for that. And finally, say it after me. I take on new and challenging things to grow. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions, feedback, or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at lori@mentalgame101.com.